Okay, good evening everyone. We are less than 2 weeks before Pesach, as you can see, and we heard about a tragedy that happened, that a 3-year-old kid went to sleep, didn't wake up in the morning, and this is here in Queens, so you heard about it, but unfortunately we hear about it every day, from different places. We get emails about tragedies, one after the other. So, first, we feel bad when we hear other people lose their kids. You raise a kid, he goes to sleep, he doesn't wake up, tragedy like this. But it's a wake-up call for each one of us. It's a wake-up call. These things happen, they have to make an impact on us. If we don't wake up from things like this, then nothing will wake us up. Nothing else. To participate in a funeral, it's like 1,000 shiurei musar, like 1,000 lectures about musar and ethics, just to see how a person ended up in his life. In this case, when he's only 3 years old, then of course people feel even worse. If it's an older person, they say, well, at least he lived most of his life. But a kid that didn't even grow up, the tragedy is tremendous. But the truth is, it should be the other way around. Because everyone who died before Bar Mitzvah, we should feel less sorry for him than more. Because these people goes express to heaven. Because you see that they only had few years to correct some things from the previous life. They did it, and they passed away. Sometimes they passed away with tortures, like cancer, which takes few months, of chemo and all kinds of things. So these kids are suffer. So basically they erase all their sins that they have left over from their previous life, and they finish their mission in life. They don't have to be reincarnated again. Someone who dies later, 27, 30, 50, this is people that you don't know if they done. They may have to come back again. Depending on how many sins they have. Usually, if you really check, everything is the opposite. What people think is good, it's really bad. What people think is bad is really good. Usually. The more you dig and you learn, you see that. But either way, for people cannot disconnect their emotions, I mean, even if if a person knows, Chas v'Shalom, that his son died, and he goes express to heaven, he still cries and feel bad. We should make a party in a way. Oh, Baruch Hashem, my son finished his tikkun, he doesn't have to come again and to be tested again, so he's done, he's perfect. Should have been happy. But why we really cry? We cry for ourselves, because we're going to miss them. Same thing if a person sends his kid, I don't know, to go to a great school or something that he knows is very good for him. So the mother is still crying. Why she's crying? Because she's going to miss him. She really cry for herself, not for him, because he's going for a very good place. In the Holocaust, we had women, righteous women, that had a choice. What was their choice? The choice was, what do we do? Do we let the Nazi take the kids and kill them? Or we give them to the Christian church. Some churches, they were willing to take kids and to adopt them. They have like orphan houses. And they took any kid, any baby who, they had a place, you put them, you don't even have to say who you are. You just leave the kid by the window there, and they pick him up. Every hour or two, they check. If there's kids there, people cannot raise them, they leave them over there and they raise them. The problem is that these kids will not know that they're Jewish, and they won't have a choice. They won't have a chance to practice religion, which is the purpose of their life. So they thought, what's better? That they will leave, but they won't know what are they doing here? Or that it's better they die, and they die righteous and finished. Many of them, they prefer that they will kill them than to turn them in. The one who had strong faith did not turn them in to the churches or to the orphan homes. They just kept them until the Nazis came and killed them. And the ones who didn't have such a strong emunah, the one who didn't have such a strong emunah, these kind of people, they turned them in. There's a very famous story which I once or twice said in the past, I don't know if you ever heard that before, is that after the war, they knew that in France there are many, many Jewish babies that were given to the big church over there. And now it's few years after the war, and probably they grew up a little bit, they were kids, 2 weeks old, a month old. They should be 4, 5, 6. That's their ages should be now. So they wanted to save them, bring them to Israel. They have no parents, no family. So they went there. It was a very big church with big heavy doors. So they knock on the doors there. They open up the door. I say yes. 2 rabbis went there. One Ashkenazi and one Sephardi. The Ashkenazi, he speaks Yiddish. The Sephardi was speaking French. Rabbi Toledano from Morocco, they speak French. Because they didn't know what they're going to need to talk Yiddish to the kids, to talk French to the kids, because this is French Jews. So what happened is that they told the priest over there, we came to release all the kids that were given to you before the war, or while the war was taking place. So he said, you know how many kids we have here? Do you think we know which kids were given to us? We don't have records. The kids were put here. We don't even know their names, what they used to be their names. There's no way to know now who's a Jew and who's not. And so he says, so the rabbis say, okay, just give us 5 minutes and we will know who is a Jew and who's not. So the Ashkenazi rabbi, since the French Jews were speaking Yiddish also, so the Ashkenazi rabbi started to scream Shema Yisrael with the Yiddish accent. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And guess what happened? Many of those kids started to run. Mommy, mommy, tati, tate. The kids started to scream. Why? Because before the Jewish mother put the kid to sleep, what did she do to them? She read Shema Yisrael to them. Right?
That's right. So
because of that, the kids remember that they had, we haven't heard it for years, this Shema Yisrael. It woke them up. So the kids who were crying, mommy, mommy, they knew right away they're Jewish. And they brought some of these kids back, and they supposedly gave them back their identity. As I said, we are very close to Pesach. Pesach, the significance of Pesach is going from slavery into freedom. Freedom. But not only physical freedom, that the body, we used to be like prisoners and working like slaves, and now we're free to do whatever we want. In a way, we are going from negative slavery to a positive slavery. What's the difference? Because every person, if you really review the life of a person that doesn't have a God in his life, nothing, no boss around him, above him, nothing. He just live, whatever happened. Supposedly he feels that he's very free. And people who have a guideline, Torah, and they follow the rules of the Torah, so they are not so free. This is not allowed, and this is not allowed, and this I can do, and this I have to do it only in this way. There's a lot of restrictions and limitations. So from the outside, everybody say, well, he's religious, so he's like a slave of the religion. There is a boss, and he's a slave. And we are not religious, they say, so we're free to do whatever we want. But the truth is, it is exactly the opposite. How? How is it the opposite? A person that doesn't have discipline and doesn't have a system with rules, he is addicted to many, many desires. The desires control his life. He is a slave of material, of the desires that he has. I give you a few examples. If he is a person that has strong desire for food, everything you see, wow, delicious, make it like this, make it like that, we'll eat this, how are we going to make it, which spices, all his life is food, 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 he check restaurants, that's all his life is. So the food control his life. is addicted to it. It's like drugs, exactly like drugs. Drugs maybe make more damage, can kill a person faster, but food also kills people. Most of the sicknesses, I said it in one of the lectures, the Gemara says, most of the sicknesses come from the food anyway. People eat more than what they're supposed to eat. The system is not ready to accept so much. It's choking the stomach every meal a person eats. It's a problem. It's a chain reaction. It's affecting all the systems in the body. It makes the person tired, the person cannot learn. Yeah, I'm telling you, he suffers in many different fields. People who eat very little, and they're not addicted to flavors and to all kinds of things. People like this are free. Whatever you give them, they eat. They'll never suffer. I just want to be full and finished. I don't care if it's delicious or not so delicious. Or people who smoke cigarettes. Some of them, they are so addicted, if they have to kill for cigarette, they'll kill for cigarette. They can't imagine their life without it. See, a meal without a cigarette after? Come on, how can it be? He's going to walk a mile to look for somebody, maybe he can give him a cigarette. Why? Because he just finished eating, he must have a cigarette. Their body is already designed that he needs this nicotine, it's a problem. Coffee. A person that needs coffee every morning, it's also an addiction. If he doesn't drink, by 2 or 3 o'clock, he starts having headaches. How do we know? Yom Kippur, fast day, most people get headache not because of the food, because they ate tons of food the night before. They're not so hungry. But 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they have pounding headaches. So now they, Baruch Hashem, made caffeine pills. You take 2 pills before the fast, it keeps you going until the night. So you don't have the headache. Because the headache is what bothers most people in a fast day. Right? So you see that the person is a slave of something. Some people, they are slaves of ego. The ego controls them. They always are busy how to highlight themselves. And if they don't get credit, they suffer. They get very offended. And if somebody takes the credit that they deserve, they go crazy. They fight, they run, they make phone calls, sometimes for days. Why? He didn't write my name. Or by mistake, you spelled my name wrong, and now nobody will know to give me the honor that I was looking for. So these people become very miserable because they are addicted to this sickness, which is glory, fame. And that's, by the way, the reason why all the movie stars and the rock stars and all these famous models, they're all into drugs and alcohol, and many of them kill themselves. Why? As long as they are, supposedly, they're happy. Once they go down a little bit, or they feel emptiness, that's it, they don't want to live anymore. Because I got used to this, and now I don't have it, I don't want to live anymore. Same thing, wealth. A person that is growing up wealthy since he's a kid, if you take away his wealth, he wants to kill himself. He doesn't want to live anymore. What life for? What do I need life for? Right? But a person that is not addicted to material, which means he knows that Hashem created the world, He gave us the Torah, and we are here for a short period of time. We have to pass the test, and that's the most important thing, and everything else is minor. He never get to a situation that he dedicate all his life to this. He won't dedicate his life for money. He won't dedicate his life for sport. He won't dedicate his life for women. He won't dedicate his life for clothing. All these sicknesses that our sick society have doesn't apply to him. How do you know I'm right? Go and check the real, not the fake, the real kosher, holy, big rabbis that we have in the world, in a generation. One by one, I can tell you names. Go to their houses and see how they live. Don't get me wrong. Millions of dollars go through their hands every month. Budgets, donations from the richest people on earth. And they distribute the money according to their understanding. People trust them. So if they have a big deal in a factory, they write 10% from the income and they give it to this particular Rav. And they tell him, you decide how to give it out. They have like funds. And they always give the money out. Just a month ago, one of them got robbed. $50,000 from Rav Steinman in Bnei Brak. Baruch Hashem, they caught the thieves now, the police in Israel. But how such a Rav that lives in such poverty has so much money in his drawer? The answer is money comes in and out all the time. This is like a bank. All of them. All the chief rabbis is always like this. People give them because they trust their judgment what to do and how to give. So the point that I'm making here now, if you go to Rav Steinman house, you never saw in your life such simple house, never, ever. You go to the poorest neighborhood in the world, the poorest people, they don't live that poor. His chairs are made from milk cart. Milk, you know, the cases that you bring milk from, people sit on that. Chairs, if there is chairs, it's from 60 years ago. They're all wood, peeled, ripped, whatever you can think of. Nobody cares. The walls, holes in the wall, scratches, a piece is broken, there's a hole here. Nobody cares. They don't even care what they have. He will have money, he will give it to a poor person, but he won't fix it, because I have no connection to this world. My soul, in such high level, I can care less if this picture is beautiful, or if it's crooked, or if it's broken. It doesn't make a difference in my life. I can care less if I have jewelry, if I have a fancy car, not a car, doesn't matter. All I need is I want to get from here to there, the car will get me there. Doesn't matter, convenient, quiet, smooth ride, you know, beautiful suspension, Rabbi, you know, this is a special car. Go from 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. They don't care about these things. To prove to you that this is the case, Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul that passed away 10, 11 years ago, one time he came to the yeshiva and he saw everybody went to a wedding. It was one of the students of the yeshiva. So he asked, anybody here goes to the wedding? So there was only one guy that left. Everybody already gone. So one guy was there. So he says to him, you have a car? I can join you? He said, hey, I can take you, but I don't have a car. I have a Vespa. You know what a Vespa is? Vespa is a scooter, but a special scooter that has another chair on the side, like the Nazis used to have in the movies, you know, this motorcycle that has another chair on the side. It was very popular when I was a kid in Israel. Many people had it. Yeah, so he said that this is what he had. This is what he has. So he said, the Rav is so detached from this world that he cannot tell the difference between the scooter to a fancy Mercedes. He cannot even see the connection. So he says, so he didn't understand what's the problem, because these guys apologizing, but I have a Vespa. So he says, so what's Vespa? It drives? You say, yeah, it drives, but you know, it's open, it's not closed. So he still doesn't understand what does he want from him, this driver. Just let's go already. So he goes outside, he says, Rabbi here, sit here. He goes inside, sits here, the most important person in the whole world. From 6.4 billion people, this is the holiest, smartest, sharpest guy on earth. The holiest, the biggest Kabbalist, the biggest Chacham, every letter in the entire Torah, thousands of books, is all in his head like a computer. Everything. Holy vision, almost 100% all the time. Sits in a Vespa and go like this. After a few minutes that he rides, the guy in Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, everybody's seeing him. They know him from the court, from the big court. He's a big judge. They see him sitting in a Vespa, so people started to point. Then his head was always in the Torah. It doesn't matter where he is. Always thinking Torah is in his head. But then he realized that something is fishy here. So people gathering and pointing. So then he screamed, stop the car. So he came out of it and started to cry like this, or standing on the street crying. So the driver said, what happened? He said, wow, I embarrassed the name of the Torah. Everybody pointed at me that I'm sitting here. I didn't realize that it's a problem, this car. Just realized now. Same one, he was taking a bus. They always wanted him to have a driver with a car, everything. He didn't want. He was going with a bus, standing on the bus, sit in a bus like a regular person. So one of the drivers in Yerushalayim, he didn't recognize him because he was so humble. He never wore all these long rabbis' kilts, all this special clothing, special hats. No, regular, simple person. So he get on a bus in Yerushalayim. So these big buses, they have a huge giant mirror on the sides. You can adjust the mirror. So he says, excuse me. He gives him a cloth. Can you clean the mirror for me? So he's standing by the bus and cleaning the mirror for him. And all the people in the bus cursing the driver, are you crazy? You're giving him to clean the mirror. But this is a person that is mamash on the ground. No ego whatsoever. Not even in a mind. 100%. He was coming home from the yeshiva, sitting in the kitchen with his wife, peeling cucumbers for her, cleaning the parsley, mamash, like nothing. Nothing, I'm important, nothing whatsoever. So this is showing you, and they live in a very small apartment, and when they have money, they give it out. They don't keep for themselves. They give it out. This guy needs help, he gives him. The other one, whatever they get, they give out. They could have made themselves a beautiful lifestyle. They have no need for it. They don't have a need for it. Even when people told him, Rabbi, it's for you, not for the charitable causes that you have. For you, not for you, they give it out. You have in the internet, somebody went to Rabbi Yashiv and filmed his lifestyle. They film, it's in the internet, you cannot lie. You see his house, they show all the house. He lives in Yerushalayim, he's 100 years old this week, he became 100. What does he do? 21 hours a day, sits with the Gemara open and learn. He sleeps 2 hours a night. 2 hours a night, for more than 60 years, 2 hours a night he sleeps. All day he sits and learns Torah. That's it, nothing else he cares about. People come in and out, asking questions. He controls the entire religious world. Everything he says allowed, everybody says. Everything not allowed, everybody listens. Nobody move an inch from what he says. He say, we're allowed to do this, tell the government they cannot do it. No, there's nothing they can do. Everything goes by his word. Very interesting. Why? This is what Hashem wants, so he directs it like this. And not only that, I have a cousin that I once told you before is very, very big Talmid Chacham and Tzaddik, genius, but young. He's not even 50. He has a very, very big future also. And the students that knows him knows that he's very, very serious Kabbalist and learner. He's learning also. So they had a young guy and they say, Rabbi, we want you to give a bracha to this guy. He is a grandson of Rav Eliashiv. This rabbi that I told you that is 100 years old, this is 4th generation. He is the son of his grandson. So he comes to him, he says, you have, your grandfather is the most important person in the world. You come to me for bracha? He told him, go directly to the source, no? It's the more. So he says, but if you already came to me, I have to ask you a few questions about him. You probably know secrets. Tell us. So he said, I tell you the truth, I was just in his house for 4 months every day. 4 months. They asked me to be with him, he doesn't feel so good. It's very old. So I have to take care of the stuff, take in, take out, bring shopping, whatever I have to do. So for 4 months I'm in a house, in the apartment, for 4 months. He did not speak to me one word, not 2 words, 1 word since I got there until now, not 1 word. 4 months. Nothing, he's out of this world. His grandson. I take care of the house. He come in and out, taking, cleaning, taking. Nothing, not a word. So all the time he's learning Torah, that's all. And you should see the house. Mamash looks like from 100 years ago, nothing changed. You know the old apartments of Yerushalayim, in the Bukharian neighborhood of Yerushalayim, 150 years old, 200 years old. This is the beginning of the neighborhoods. The beginning. Today you see it's all very old. You see, you see by the design of the architects over there, from the time of the Turks, from 100, 120 years ago, you see how the design is different than today. You see right away that it's very old houses. This is how it is. Nothing has changed. The Chazon Ish, he passed away 40, 50 years ago. He had a metal bed, a wood table, 2 wood chairs. When he got to Israel, the government was giving the immigrants this very ugly furniture. All his life, he never changed anything. You understand? This is a person that doesn't have sicknesses. Spiritual sicknesses, they don't have. They never get angry. They never worry if they're going to have food later, tomorrow. Something happened, they take it with understanding. They don't sit and kill themselves. Mamash like this. And they know that this is only a preparation for the real world. I told you once, Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, in the funeral of his wife, after 56 years they were married, this is the last opportunity to ask for your wife, if she passed away, to forgive you for all the problems you made her in the term of the marriage. And he stood in front of 250,000 people, and he said, you and I know, he said to her body, you and I know that I don't have any reason to ask you for forgiveness. I never hurt you once in the entire life. And we never had one argument. You never hurt me, I never hurt you. We always agreed on everything. There's not even one incident. So really, I don't have to ask for anything. So I'm thinking to myself, today a person has a marriage, right? As soon as he got married, before they got home already, he has a encyclopedia. How many forgivenesses he has to ask from his wife? No? Why did you do that? Why your father is annoying me? Why did you put the gift? I told you to stay by them. Somebody's going to steal it. Why you let your uncle kiss you? What's going on? Why you don't come here? Before the wedding started, already 500 complaints. This is today. Today. Every hour I get a phone call, help me to get a get from my husband. Every hour. Sometimes it's even worse. What is it? My husband left me with children. I don't have money. I don't have nothing. They're going to disconnect the electric. We will freeze here. We don't have this. We don't have that. He's beating me up. Just on the way here, I got a phone call. My husband left me. I made a complaint against him that he cannot enter the house. Police protection by the court. They have children. And now he wants $1 million to get a get. He wants from her $1 million to give her a get. You understand what's going on here? I tell you a very interesting story that happened. Many years ago, I would say at least 50 years ago, 40 years ago maybe. 40 years ago this story happened. You know, according to the Torah, how a man and a woman gets married. How? Doesn't have to be the way we see today in the weddings, in a ceremony, with guests, with a band. Doesn't have to be. It's enough that there is him and her and 2 witnesses, and the rabbi who arrange everything, 5 people can get married. That's really it, and it can take 5 minutes. They signed on a ketubah, the witnesses, he puts the ring, he breaks the glass, they say 2 witnesses clap, finished. They get married. By the way, if it was up to me, in this time when the economical situation is so horrible, I would make a decree that no one is allowed to marry in a fancy wedding, even if he's a billionaire, doesn't matter.
Civil court today.
100%. 5 minutes, make a party in a house, a meal for 20, 30 people, Mazal Tov, few pictures, that's it, finish. These are the heroes. If it was up to me, I would take the billionaires and force them to make a wedding like this in their home. Not only wedding, bar mitzvah, brit, everything. 1, 2, 3, a little bit food. Not allowed to throw tons of food to the garbage, like the fancy weddings, to make few piles of steaks and this and that, burn the money, come on. I wouldn't allow it, but no, who am I to make decrees? Nobody would listen anyway. So just give you an idea. So 40 years ago, so how do you get married? Once a person say to a woman, "Areat mekudeshet li," doesn't have to be a ring. You can give her a quarter. A quarter. He gives her a quarter to her hand. He can give her this. It's worth a pruta. Pruta today it's a quarter, let's say, in our time. It's worth a quarter, yes, this. So he gives it to her. He say, "Would you accept this and agree to marry me?" She say yes. 2 witnesses saw it. As soon as she grabbed it, she say yes. Finish, they're married. She needs a get now. But you need the 2 witnesses to be Shomer Shabbat. If they don't keep Shabbat, one of them, the marriage is not official. Why? Because you need 2 kosher witnesses, 2 Shomer Shabbat witnesses to see how he puts the ring on her finger, or how she agreed and she accepted the gift, finished.
What's going to happen with the marriage?
So what happened now? There was a school, a high school in Israel, high school. The high school in Israel, there was one guy with a kippah sruga, which what we call modern. He goes to public school, modern guy. And this modern guy, he saw a guy and a girl, secular Jews, in 12th grade, 17, 18, playing games in front of all the friends. He comes with a ring, nothing, just a simple ring. He comes to one of the girls, he puts it on her finger, they play in a recess time. He say, הרי את מקודשת לי בטבעת זו. He make like a show. And she say, I do. And everybody make fun. Mazel tov, mazel tov. So this guy, he thought to himself, wait a minute, this is exactly what makes a person husband and wife. It's very important now, because if they officially now got married, she can never ever get married anymore until he gives her a get. So he ran to his rabbi. He told his rabbi, this is what happened. I saw this. I saw it. And I'm wondering to myself if they're married or not. So the rabbi told him, run to the Rabbanut, that's the office of the government, and register them as husband and wife. Say that you were the witness that this ceremony took place. So they wrote the name of the girl. That was the story. A few years later, she met a guy. She came to register to get permission to get married. They tell her, ma'am, what are you talking about? You are married already for 5 years. She said, what married? I'm not married. Never been married. She said, look at the computer. Ma'am, look at the computer. You got married in this school, at that date, at that time, and this is the witness that saw that. Now, remember, you need 2 witnesses. But certain things in the Torah, even 1 witness is good. Certain things, 1 witness is also good. Certain things. So, like, for instance, if this is pork or glad kosher beef, you don't know, 1 person is loyal enough to tell you this is pork, you cannot touch it. Or I saw that if 1 person come and say, I worked in that restaurant, and I saw that they switched the kosher meat with non-kosher meat, that's enough, you're not allowed to touch it. You cannot tell him, I only 1 witness, you have to bring me another one, in order for me not to eat it. You cannot touch it already, from the doubt. So there are scenarios that 1 witness, I don't have time to start explaining it, it's going to take forever, but just that you understand. So this is an argument between the poskim, between the rabbis. If 1 witness saw a ceremony that a man made a woman his wife, 1 only, if she needs a get because of the doubt. It's a doubt situation. It's not clear if she's married, and it's not clear if she needs a get. Since he cannot play with fire, he has to give her a get, divorce, because of the doubt. Maybe she was married. Now, if he won't give her a divorce, she's a married woman. If she's going to get married, the kids will be mamzerim. It's going to be a disaster. So this woman comes now to the Rabbanut. They tell her, you're already married. So what? I have to get married now. I have a boyfriend. So you have to get a get from that guy. So she located that guy. She came to that guy, and the guy was a very bad person. When he saw that she needs him, right away he said, that's an easy way to make bucks. Can make some money now. So that was 40 years ago, he asked for $10,000, which is like $100,000 today, approximately. So he told her, no problem, you want to get? I'm willing to give it to you. Just give me $100,000. Go to your father, collect the money from me, I'll give you a get. No matter what they do, he doesn't want to give a get. They go to this rabbi, they go to another rabbi, they go to another rabbi, they don't know what to do now. Everyone is afraid to allow her to get remarried. Until they got to Rabbi Ovadia Yosef. Today is the chief Sephardi rabbi in the world, but at that time I think he was the head of the court in Petach Tikva, in one of the cities. So they came to him, and he says, call the guy to me. So the guy came, and he said to the guy, don't you want a compromise? Maybe you get a little less and give her a get? He said, no, and if you continue to tell me this, I'm going to double the price. It was really nasty, this guy. So the rabbi said, no problem. Give me your papers. You're allowed to get married. Here. You don't have to give him a penny. Goodbye. You can get married. The guy left with nothing. So he answered that in his book. He told the story. He said it in his lecture, what happened, and he answered. He says, from the Torah, you need for marriage 2 kosher witnesses that were Shomer Shabbos. Even though that event was in front of many guys and girls, right? There were many guys there. There was only that religious guy that testified about it. All the other people, they were not religious. They're not Shomer Shabbos. It's a public school. So they don't count as witnesses. Since we have only one witness, they never got married. She can go and get married. So the guy left with nothing. What would happen if there would be another religious guy over there? She's stuck. Now, this is the time to say that in our days we have a very, very serious problem. The problem is that people don't really evaluate good enough the value of the marriage. What marriage is. Not the boys and not the girls. They don't understand that marriage is a very serious thing. It's not a joke. It's not just love between male and female, like they think. Since the love is not so in a hat anymore like it used to be, let's get rid of her. Doesn't work that way. It's a partnership for life. It's uniting the 2 souls together. What do you think? It's a joke? It's like becoming a one unit to bring souls to this world. It's a big responsibility. Since these people live like animals, they have no values. No values. They lie, they cheat, they steal. They are much like desires like animals. So these kind of people, they're not capable of being parents or being in a marriage and relationship because they don't even have the alphabet, the foundation of life they don't have. So what happened now? They cheat. The men cheat all the time. The more money they have, the more they cheat. Because they have money, they go on business trips, they go to hotels, they call all these dirty magazines, and that's what they do, they cheat. And the women, which you may think, well, a woman will take 1,000,000 times before she cheat on her husband, especially if she has kids. This is minimum of common sense before we talk about religion. Just, they don't care anymore these days. The women, they're just as bad as the men almost today. So now, on my way here, I get a phone call from one woman who asked me to help her to get a get from her guy. Through the investigation that I investigated her on the phone, I found out that she was cheating on her husband. So what's going on now? Now she wants to get a get from her husband that she can go and continue the sins that she started with her boyfriend on the side of the marriage. So I basically destroyed her life by telling her, I'm very sorry to disappoint you. The Torah says that if a married woman cheats on her husband with a specific person, she's from that moment on forbidden to her husband. He must divorce her. He cannot be with her anymore. Cannot touch her anymore. She's not his wife anymore. It's over the marriage. And she can never get married to the person that she cheated with. She's stuck from both sides. She couldn't stay on the phone. She gave the phone to somebody else. She disappeared. Why? She had already plans. I've got to get the get. I've got to go marry the guy. I just told her, I'm very sorry. Why? Why the Torah is like this? Because if a woman that cheated on her husband can now get a get from the husband and go with the man that she's cheated, everyone would do it. Every woman who wants to get rid of her husband, what's the point of giving a get? The get has no value. The get, the Torah say that if the man and a woman reach the situation that they cannot stay together for whatever reason is, he has to write them a get. He has to write her a get. It's called Sefer Kritut, a book that cut her away from his life. If she wasn't cut by him, she still connects to him. She cannot be with another man. It's very simple. Very clear to understand. No cutting, no marriage to another man forever. Even 30 years, he's in coma. He's in coma. He cannot give her a get. He would give her, but he can't write. She's stuck for life. It's very interesting because there was a case like this of a husband and wife that got married. Few months after the marriage, lo alenu, they went into a critical accident. And she's very young, she's in 20, 21, and the guy went into a coma. He's like a flower, sleeping in hospital, connects to machines. Eventually, after a few weeks, they don't keep him in hospital forever, so they moved him to his home. So now they train her what to do, to change liquids, to do this. She became his nurse now. 20 years old woman, she just got married. She didn't start her life. She's stuck with his man now, sleeping. Now you don't know how long it's going to be there. When is she ever going to be married again? Only when he dies. No other way. Now you may say, why God made such a rule? The rule was there always. Before that incident and before the next incident, that was the rule. If chas v'shalom it happens to someone, then you know that God punished this person for whatever reason. It could be from previous life, it could be for all kinds of reasons, that she will have that test. It's not coincidence that it happened to her and not to another girl. It happened to her. It's a very big test. So now, for a few years, she's stuck with his man. She hardly got to know him. So now she's taking care of him, and she only get rid of him after he dies. Now, once in a while, he gets an attack. And when he gets an attack, she has to run to the machine and press certain things, that it revives him. So one time when she was already desperate, she's dying to already get married and to do something. She see all her friends from school, one after the other one, get married and have children, and she stay lonely, young girl, she cannot do anything. So all of a sudden he got a massive attack. And now she was thinking, should I run to the machine or should I just leave him to die? It's good for him, good for me. Big test, no? Very big test. She thought for a few seconds, she ran to the machine and saved him. Then she ran to the rabbi after that. She said, did I do the right thing? Because I didn't kill him. I would never dare to disconnect him from the machines. That's murder. But did I have the obligation to revive him? It's against my will. It's also not good for him. If I would ignore it, let's say, I would sit and do nothing. In that case, he will go to Olam Haba, and I'll be able to get married and make some mitzvot, no? So the rabbi told her, you did what you had to do. You had to go and save him. Why? Because the Torah says, V'chai achicha imach. And your brother should live with you. With you, which means, if you are alive, you have to do everything you can to save your brother as well. Cannot just ignore if he needs help. It's going to ruin my future. That's where the fate comes. Obviously, if Hashem wants him to die, no matter how many buttons you press, he won't help. He won't help. So this is what's going on here. So today, there are so many women who cheated on their husband, and their kids are not the husband's kids. They don't know it. They don't know. Today we have DNA, Baruch Hashem. So DNA, when Hashem saw that it became an epidemic, He allowed science to discover this DNA thing. We didn't have DNA 30 years ago, because it wasn't so common, all this cheating. Now it became an epidemic, so people have to think twice. He will find out if it's his boy or not, right? If he see that the boy looks nothing like him, and he knows that his wife is not so faithful, he's going to take a piece of blood from his son without her even knowing and go and make a DNA test and find out, right? At least when he dies, he knows if to write all his money to him or to the other kids. At least he has the right to know if this is really his kid, no? So many of these mamzerim means illegitimate kids, which means they came in a forbidden relationship, a married woman with another man. The Torah says that they are not allowed to marry anyone except their own kind. Mamzer with mamzeret. Male and female, only this. Now, since we do not know about many of them, we don't know. So what happened? Hashem kills them young. They die young. Why? Because it won't be fair for innocent people. They won't know. They go on a date. She doesn't know he's a mamzer. She's going to get married, all her kids will be like this. Or the other way around. She's a mamzeret, he comes to marry her. I have a guy that I had the zchut to make him Baal Tshuva. Became religious. And one day, So one person comes to me and say, listen, my father, so I brought that guy to my house, and my father looked at his face, and he remembered that he knew somebody in Russia that looks exactly like this guy. So after he left, he comes to me and asks me, tell me, is the last name of this guy such and such? So I say to him, yes. He said, oi, 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 what do you have to do with this kid? So he says, my friend, we know each other from shul or whatever. So he told him, this boy is a mamzer. So he says, what happened? He said, well, the mother couldn't have kids with the father. So the father, I don't know what a foolish father it was. I can't believe what a stupid man would allow such a thing. Told his wife, I allow you to have kids with another man as long while we married. Go have him, just for having kids. So he allowed his wife to go and get, have relationship with another man, and this man was a friend of this father here that saw him. So he knows that this kid is not really his father's son. He thinks that this is the one who raised him, that's his father. But this guy knows that it's not his father. But until this moment, the boy doesn't know. And I am the poor guy. I get sometimes phone calls to ask me reference for him for marriage. You got the catch-22 here? So now what's the problem? The problem is that every person who wants to marry him, you have to warn her. You're not allowed from the Torah. Hashem doesn't allow. But then there's a problem here. Why? Because the Torah said, now we're learning a little bit of the insights of the Torah. You don't hear it usually in lectures, only in yeshiva. The Torah says mamzer vadai, not mamzer safek. Mamzer certain, not maybe. Not maybe yes, maybe not. What does it mean maybe yes, maybe not? I'll give you an example. A man went on a business trip and he came back, and 8 or 7 months after the business trip, his wife gave birth. And, he wasn't with her, he was 3 months away. He came back, and all of a sudden, 7 months later, she gave birth. And plus, he looked at the boy, he is dark, and the boy is completely blonde. So I say to himself, how all of a sudden I have such a pretty boy, blonde, blue eyes, I look like a monkey, I have such a beautiful, even though I see a lot of things like this, parents that are very bad looking, and kids all of a sudden, or the other way around. It happens. I don't know how, but it happens. So listen. So the father see, not only it's 7 months after I came back, also, it doesn't even look like me. So now there's a chance that he's a mamzer, but we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. So today you may say, we have DNA. What's the problem? Make a DNA and you know for sure, no? The Torah didn't allow us DNA. There was no DNA in the time of the Torah. So the Torah said the only way to take a person and make him illegitimate, which means a mamzer, is if 2 kosher witnesses, Shomer Shabbos, not Shomer Shabbos is like a goy, so he cannot testify in anything. 2 Shomer Shabbos saw that the wife cheated. But that's impossible, almost impossible. Why? Because even if 2 kosher witnesses goes to a hotel, let's say, they go to Atlantic City, I don't know, they're not kosher anymore if they go there. So let's choose a different hotel. Let's choose a different hotel. They went, I don't know, in a convention to sell jewelry, I don't know, in jewelry show, and all of a sudden they see a married woman, comes with a man and goes into a room. Married woman, without her husband, goes into a room. And comes out after an hour. Every fool knows what happened there. What she came to give him a haircut? She came to the hotel to pay for the room, to give him a haircut, to make a business deal with him. Everyone understands what she did there, but since we didn't see in our eyes, we only in the other side of the door, We cannot make the kid that will born 9 months later from that date a mamzer. We cannot. We cannot. Not only that, even if there's a camera in a room. Let's say the hotel's surprising us now, so we have a candy camera in every room, and they pull up the video, and you see in a video live exactly what happened over there. You can still not make the kid mamzer. Why? The Torah didn't allow testimony by a camera. Especially today, you can edit. You can edit with the Photoshops and things. There's a lot of way. In Hollywood, what do you think? All this action is really the actors? They find somebody who looks exactly the same, and they make you think that this guy, he's really the guy who jumped. But it's really somebody else. Wasn't them. So there's many ways to play tricks with videos. You can play tricks with video. You can edit, you can take a minute from here and a minute from there, and you can make a handshake between two people, the same people, like they do in a movie. One actor is acting like he's twins, and he talks to himself in the same movie. It really looks like two, right? So what are you going to do? Based on that, you're going to testify against a person? So really, the only way to do it is 1 to 1,000,000 to find a woman that cheated. To really testify in a Beis Din is only when you saw them mamash in the middle. There's no other way. And it's very, very rare. That's why most of the mamzerim, we can never testify against them. So they are safek mamzer. Maybe yes, maybe not. Of course, if you're a clever person, you'll never let your kids marry these doubts. Still a doubt here. But to isolate them from the community, like the Torah said, you're not allowed. But since Hashem is the only one who knows, for sure, they die young. That's what happened. They die young. Mamzerim die young.
What's young?
Young, it could be before they even started life, before they get married. Or they never get married. You see, they try, nothing works out for them. Or that they die young. You see,
So how did you give reference?
I cannot give reference. I cannot give reference. But I cannot say that he is that. Because
You're not allowed to say.
Because I wasn't one of the witnesses. There's no 2 kosher witnesses that really saw this woman go with another man. This is the story that they knew in their town, that their husband allowed her to go with another man. But did I see it? No. So I don't know. So to run find him a shidduch, I can't. To run a shidduch for him, I can't. So what do? The Torah says when you have an intersection and you don't know if to make a right or to make a left, just stand still. Don't do anything. Yes. Why? It's true that you won't get to your destination, but you will not do the opposite thing with your action. I'll give you an example what I mean. Let's say there are 2 things now. One is kosher, one is not kosher, and you don't know which one is what. If you take it with your hand and give it to somebody to eat, you fed him pork with your own hand. Maybe yes, maybe not, you don't know. So it's better not to do anything. I don't know, I do not know if it's this or this, I'm not doing anything. It's called shev ve'al ta'aseh adif. When you don't know what to do, you do nothing. When you don't know what to say, you say nothing. I don't know, I really don't know. Lamed leshoncha lomar eni yodea, the Gemara says. Learn to say, I don't know. Where is your father? I don't know. When your father came back from Israel? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You're not living in a house? I don't know. You live or you don't live in a house? I don't know. Let him think you're crazy. Why? The more you answer, these people are already planning something. It's very easy to fool the kids. The Gemara brings a story. The Gemara says, what's more important? Mayim rishonim or mayim achronim? When you eat bread, you wash the hands before. When you finish eating the meal, you do a little bit water on the finger, it's mayim achronim, before the birkat hamazon. Technically, what's more important? Mayim rishonim. You cannot eat bread without washing the hands. The Gemara comes to the opposite conclusion. The Gemara says, mayim rishonim fed a Jew pork. Mayim achronim killed the person. What's worse, to feed a person pork or to kill him?
Same thing.
So the answer is, this is what happened. There was a restaurant in the time of the Gemara, and the owner of the restaurant was a religious Jew. So it was on the way. So there used to be Jews coming to eat, and Goyim comes to eat. Now in the old days, the Goyim also had something on their head. Everyone was wearing something. And beard, everyone had. They didn't have Gillette yet. I'm talking 2,000 years ago. A man that had no beard, everyone pointed at him in the street. Look at this woman. What man would go without a beard? It's like an Arab without a mustache. It's impossible, you know. This is what, you want to be a man, you have to have a mustache. That's their culture. So the point is, everybody had beards. So it was very difficult to tell who's a Jew and who's not. Unless if you speak to them. But now the owner of the restaurant cannot speak to every one of his customers. So this is the way they determine who is a Jew and who is not. When the Jews come in, because in that restaurant they fed glad kosher food, and they fed completely not kosher food. So how did they know what to serve? They saw if there was always bread on the tables. Like today in a restaurant, they always have some. So if the person comes to make netilat yadayim, Jew, serve him glad kosher meat. If he comes right away, take the bread and start to eat, non-Jew, give him pork, give him whatever he wants, it's cheaper anyway, very good. One Jew came, no netilat yadayim. They don't make netilat yadayim, they serve him pork. He eats and everything.
They use the same kitchen?
Different kitchens, different knives, same place, cut from here to here, kosher, from here not kosher. So the guy eats and eats and that, and in the end they see he takes out the siddur and makes birkat hamazon. I say, wow, I just fed him pork. He got very upset. So he started to scream, why you don't make netilat yadayim? So the Gemara says, you see, Mayim Rishonim, first water, made a Jew eat pork. How the last water, Mayim Achronim, made a person die. 3 rabbis went to a motel to stay overnight. They were on the road. It became dark. It's not safe to travel in a forest at night. They have to sleep somewhere. There's a motel there in town. They go inside to the motel. The owner of the motel, his name is Kidor. A goy. Kidor, he owns the motel. Now when you go to the motel, you can give him, he has like a safe. So you give him your belongings and he's keeping it for you. He gives you a note and you come the next day when you check out and you take it out. So 2 rabbis take their wallets, their money, and they want to give it to him. One rabbi says, I'm not giving him the money. So why? It doesn't make sense that he's going to cheat his customers because he doesn't want to ruin his reputation. Nobody will come to his motel. If he steals once or twice, nobody wants to come here. So he said, because his name is Kidor. Kidor, it's a bad name. Why it's a bad name? Because the Torah says, Kidor tahapuchot ema. Dor tahapuchot means, Dor means in Hebrew generation. Ki means because. Kidor, because it's a generation of revolution. They go and rebel against God. That's the meaning of the verse in the Torah. Kidor. So his name comes from a bad, negative verse in the Torah. I don't want to mess with this guy. It's a negative name. And the other rabbis say, it's not a proof. They gave him the money. The next day they come. He didn't give him his money. They come to get their money. The guy say, what money? He didn't give me any money. Standing here yesterday talking, he didn't give me anything in the end. He said, no, we gave you our wallets and our stuff. I said, I'm sorry, rabbis, you're dreaming. You didn't give me any money. They saw that his mustache is dirty with bean soup. You know, like chulent, very thick bean soup. So his mustache is a little bit dirty with red. So the rabbi said, let's find out where he lives and go to his wife and get the money out of her. So they went to the house, they knock on the door, the woman opened the door, they say, hello, we just were by the motel, and your husband sent us to take the wallets from you that he gave you last night, and he said that the sign, she calls her husband to find out. So it said, the sign that you should give us the wallet is that you ate bean soup for lunch with your husband today here. So how do they know what we ate for lunch? So I guess my husband sent, there's no telephone to call, hey darling, the wallets that you stole from these two Jews, you really want to return it to them? There's no telephones. So they walked all the way to his house. She opened the door and said, the two wallets, you have to give it to us, and the sign is that you ate a few hours ago with your husband, bean soup. So, very good. So she went inside, she gave them the wallet. So the guy came back home at night. She said, wow, that was a great idea. You sent me these two rabbis to take the wallets. So what? He gave them the wallets. What? He took a chair, broke her head, and killed her. So the Gemara says, see, mayim achronim, when they used to make mayim achronim, they go like this on the mouth to clean the mustache. Besides, a person that has a beard and a mustache has to be extra careful because there's always crumbs stuck around. It's a forest. It's like fruit growing on a tree. He has to be extra careful. Besides, I always talk about it, that if you want to be a kosher Jew, before you talk about the mitzvot of keeping Shabbat, putting tefillin, not being a thief, and all the rest, you always have to make sure you're clean. You never smell. If you smell, you take 3 showers a day in the summer. Yes, there's no choice. Deodorants, use deodorant. You should never have long nails. Never let a person see long black nails with dirt underneath. And a person that he has messy hair should always cut his hair neat, should always dress properly. You have to know. And when you come to the shul, sometimes you see people, they come to the shul with their clothes from work, all black, dirty. You know, they work and they're all mechanics. I don't know what they do. They come with their clothes and they spray to Hashem like this. You understand? So I know some mechanics that they put an outfit on top of their dirty clothes. They cover it with a nice long thing because they don't have now time to go and take a shower and change their clothes and then put their clothes again because they go back to work. But they come presentable in front of Hashem when they pray. Why do you come with your dirty clothes, all this dirt on your hands? This, you gotta stand in front of Hashem. The Gemara said the rabbis used to wear special clothes before they started to pray. They had special clothes just for the praying, to show Hashem that this is an important moment for me. Don't come like casual, like for me it's nothing, walking in the street and singing the prayer. You know, be'ema uveira, like a person is shaking just from the thought, I'm standing in front of the Creator of all the worlds. So this is it. So going back to what I started to say before, a person that is addicted to his desires, he is a slave. And a person that knows allowed, not allowed, he controls his desires. My wife is allowed to me for 2 weeks now, very good. Now 2 weeks, time out, not allowed. Control myself. That means I can control anything in my life. When I sweat, I sweat. I'm cold a little bit, I'm cold. I'm not complaining. I take everything, whatever they give me to eat, I eat. If I go to people's house, they put me on a mattress. It's not so comfortable. There's a leak on my head. No problem. Hashem puts me here. I get the best out of it. You never get depressed. I read in a survey 2 weeks ago, people that have faith in God, Jews and non-Jews, just those who have faith in God automatically decrease the chance to be depressed by thousands of %. Before we're talking about if it's real religion or not real religion, just the fact that they know there's God who watch me and He's controlling everything, which means I need His help and He's going to save me. Like I know a lot of Spanish people, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that from all the Gentiles, the Hispanic, the Spanish, have more tradition. They're more religious than the other Goyim. They're more religious, because every second word, Dios, gracias a Dios, you go to all these countries, every corner you have a church. They're very connected to the religion, especially if they're poor. You go to Mexico and all the poor neighborhoods, every corner you have. When they're very rich, they already forgot about Dios. You know, now he's a tycoon. You know, the richest person in the world is not Bill Gates anymore. The Mexican guy.
Oh, yeah?
Victor Salim.
That's a Lebanese.
Huh? Arab?
Yeah, Lebanese back.
Lebanese. Salim. Yeah. So
we have a mission to accomplish.
Yeah. So Bill Gates lost his title already, and also Warren Buffett is number 3. Huh?
Poor guys.
Very good. Gabi, you number 4.
God willing.
Say amen.
Amen.
I'm not so sure that you have to say amen. You become so rich, it's a problem also.
Share it.
Many people say to me, I'm dying to be rich only for one reason. I'm going to give so much money to the yeshivot. I'll teach all the rich people what does it mean to really be rich.
This is what
And I'm smiling to myself, and I said, once they get their first million, they won't even remember the shul. They won't even remember the yeshiva. The same rich people, before they made their millions, they also thought like this. You have to understand one thing. When you don't have a test, you don't have any interference with the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. You don't have it because it doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply to you. Once it begins to apply to you, the Yetzer Hara tortures you and doesn't leave you alone. I'll give you an example. I have an uncle, Alav Shalom, he passed away a few years ago. He quit his work after many years and he got some money, retirement. But before he got the money, he came to this rabbi that I told you with the Vespa, Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul. He came to him and said, Rabbi, I'm about to get money from my work. After 30 years I was working there. And I'm thinking what to do. Should I buy an apartment in Ramle? Ramle is right next to the airport, 5 minutes away from the airport in Israel. But it's much cheaper than Jerusalem, half a price. At that time was half a price. Today it's not even a quarter of a price. Jerusalem became very expensive. But at that time it was 1 to 2. You can buy 2 apartments for the price of 1. So you say, the money that I'm going to get will be enough to buy an apartment in Ramle and don't have mortgage. What should I do? Should I do that? Or should I put the money towards a house in Jerusalem and then take a mortgage and pay the rest in many years? So the rabbi told him, when you have the money in your hand, come back to me and ask me the question again. So my uncle was a very direct person. You know these people that don't have tact? You know what tact is? You know what tact is or no? You gotta be clever. Sometimes you say things, even though you're right, it's a big embarrassment. So he didn't have so much tact. And what did he say? He said, Rabbi, I don't understand. What's the difference if I have now the money in my hand or not? I'm asking you a general halacha question. What's better? To take $100,000 and buy an apartment in Ramle without a mortgage? Or to buy half an apartment in Jerusalem and offer the other half? What do you care? If I have the money, maybe I ask for my uncle. What do you care? So the rabbi told him, when you have the money in your hand, that will become an official halacha question. Which means my job as a rabbi is to answer you what God wants you to know. Right now it's just hypothetically speaking. It's not an official halacha question. I don't have siyata dishmaya. I feel that Hashem is not giving me the answer. But when you have it in your hand, then I will have the answer. Because now Hashem would want me to tell you what to do. You have the money now. And at the end of the story, he never got the money. The rabbi probably saw it. So he didn't want to upset him, tell him, go put money over here, sign a contract. Ended up, he didn't have the money. Never had the money. Same uncle of mine. One day I take a tape. In the old days, before there was CDs, maybe 10 years ago, there was hardly any CDs yet. It was all tapes, the Torah tapes. I put a tape of Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, and I drive home. I'll never forget this. I'm on the FDR Drive on the east side, going all the way up towards the George Washington Bridge. I listen to the tape, and I see the rabbi speaks in Jerusalem, and all of a sudden I hear a familiar voice. Somebody get up and say, Kvod Harav, you're speaking about the election. The rabbi, he's the chief of the Sephardic movement in the Israeli Knesset. There's few Israeli Knesset members that they are Sephardic religious, They represent the Sephardic Orthodox Jews. They want rights, money for the yeshivot, all kinds of rights for the people not to go to the army, that they'll be able to learn Torah, help for the poor people, families with many kids that they get all kinds of discounts. That's what they fight for. And the religious people vote for them like in any other political system in the world. That's how it works. Democracy. So he says, the rabbi, it was about a week or two before the elections. So he said to all the large crowd over there, someone who is religious and he votes for a group that runs to the government and they are not religious is a very big sin, because he gives these wicked Jews the power to destroy Israel, and every bad thing they're going to do, he is guilty, which is 100% true. Okay, it's 100%, this is how it works. Same thing, all the Arabs that donate to the Hamas and to Al-Qaeda and to all these terrorist murderers, even if they don't murder with their own hands, everyone they kill, they have a share in it. They're going to get punished for every victim. Why? Because their money kept them going, these murderers. Same thing if you buy secular newspapers. And these newspapers, especially in Israel, they constantly smash the religion and say bad things about the Torah and about the rabbis and against everything, and they even make jokes about it. By you buying these newspapers, besides the fact that it's against the halacha, to see all the not modest clothes over there and all the Lashon Hara, you make them stronger. And because of your money that you constantly buy their newspapers, they keep going with their sins. If you would not buy from them, they'll go bankrupt. And there will be less sins. So you participate in something negative. So he says, so you're not allowed to vote for them. But if you know the Israeli politics, in order for you to become a prime minister, you need to have the majority of the parliament, which you have 120 seats, you have to have at least 61. If you don't head to 61, you cannot be a prime minister. Now, if your group got 40, you still need 21. So you go to all the small groups, ES5, ES7, ES11, you offer them all kinds of jobs and budgets, and they join together and they make a government. That's how it is. So now the religious group anyway has to join to the wicked ones. The big parties, they're not religious. So the religious people anyway go to them with the government. So because of the religious people, this party, they're making rules sometimes against the Torah. So my uncle get up in front of maybe 1,000 people there. Say, Kvod Harav, I'm driving, I hear this voice sounds familiar. If you vote for the religious party that in the end anyway join with these parties of the secular Jews, isn't it the same?
Silence.
You should see what happened there. The rabbi, that's the first and last time in my life that I heard him getting angry. He said, Shev b'sheket chatzuf. Sit quietly, you chutzpan. You chatzuf. How do you dare to ask such a question? I said, what? It's my uncle. I'm shaking in the car like it's live. Right away I called my aunt. She said, don't ask. For 3 weeks, he cannot get out of bed. He's so depressed. He went 20 times a day to the rabbis. He said, Rabbi, forgive me. He said, I forgive you already. Enough. How many times do you ask? He goes after an hour again. Rabbi, you sure you forgive me? Until he passed away. It was a legitimate question, but even a legitimate question, you have to know where to ask. I remember one person asked him, he was speaking against the wigs, that the religious women today, it's all became a business, a show, fashion show. What is this?
That's true.
$5,000 wig here, $5,000 there. You modest? You have to be really modest. Enough with this nonsense. So he's talking against, especially the Sfaradim. When did we see our grandmothers with all these wigs? Religious women used to cover their head. That's it. So another idiot got up and he said, Kvod Harav, every Shabbat we see your daughter-in-law with a very fancy wig. So he said, believe me, there is enough place in hell for her also. He thought he's going to embarrass him. Right away, he told that there's enough room for her in hell. The truth is the truth. No matter your daughter-in-law, that's the truth. Later he's going to go home and his son will scream, wow, you embarrassed my wife in front of the whole world. But he had to answer him that. Imagine if we tell him, this rabbi is not real. When it comes to his own daughter-in-law, all of a sudden it's no problem. If it's good for her, it's good for us. It's a very tricky question. And he passed the test. All right, before we finish, I want to just conclude with some things about Pesach. Pesach, besides cleaning the chametz from the house and make sure there's no breadcrumbs and no this, the secret of Pesach is to clean the chametz from the heart. To get all the negative, all the dirt out of our personality. Take out the anger, take out all the ego, take out the laziness, the stinginess, the stealing. Gotta purify our hearts. This is what Pesach is all about. I remember once when I was young, I went to an Indian restaurant. In Manhattan, they have fancy Indian restaurants. And everybody told me, Indian food, you have to go to this restaurant, they serve the best Indian food. So I go to this restaurant with my wife. We go over there, and I see that the prices in the menu are very reasonable. For Manhattan, such low prices. It's very tricky. So then I see that they serve to the table next to me Indian bread. Indian bread. Did you ever see Indian bread, how it looks? It looks like a balloon. Round like this, like a balloon. You make a hole in it with your finger. It's very thin, very thin. Shh, all the steam comes out because it's full of steam. You make a hole in the Indian bread, it crashes. You take it like this, you make a little bowl. That's it. How much? Maybe 16, 17 years ago. Each piece of dough like this, $2. It's like $7 today. So I realized the trick of this restaurant. The food is almost cost price. Because everybody look how much the food. How do they make their money? On the drinks and on this lousy Indian bread. So I say to my wife, what do we need bread now? We eat rice. Who wants to eat bread with rice now? Forget about this bread. So then I see the Indian guy comes to me, sir, did you try our Indian bread? I said, no, it's okay, we don't like bread. He gets insulted, he goes. 2 minutes later, somebody else comes, sir, you're not trying the Indian bread? After 12, 13 times, the whole meal we eat, they're all standing around us like they're ready to choke us. Every 5 seconds somebody else, sir, the Indian, you didn't try, this is the first time somebody doesn't eat our Indian bread. Then the guy got angry. Don't come here anymore if you don't eat Indian bread. Because they're serving us and they're not making money. So I had an idea with this Indian bread. Indian bread, this is like what this world is all about. What's the difference between a Jew and Indian? How do you write Indian in Hebrew? Hodi. Hey, Vav, Daled, Yud. You fell asleep. נרדמת בשמירה.
I'm so excited to listen.
So, you have the Indian bread, which is very puffy. You make a hole, all the steam comes out, it becomes nothing. That's the difference between chametz and matzah. Same ingredients, same ingredients. What's the difference? 18 minutes. In 18 minutes, the dough rises. It becomes puffy. Bread, bread, if you make dough and right away put it in the oven, it won't rise. It will be a piece of like wood, very like matzah. What makes the bread beautiful, puffy, takes a lot of space? It's that it's puffy. It's heat comes and it's the yeast and it all rise. This is the difference between real and fake, the illusion of this world. The illusion. The Torah says, chametz or matzah, what's the difference? The bread, it's significant. It's symbolize all the phony world, the phony life. Pesach, it's time to be free, freedom. We came out of slavery, of physical slavery, into spiritual freedom. We got the Torah, we became connected to Hashem. We say in the Agadah, the night of Leil HaSeder, we sing a song, Dayenu, Dayenu, Dayenu. We have a list. One of the things we said, if Hashem brought us to Mount Sinai and didn't give us the Torah, Dayenu, it's also great. What do you mean great? The whole thing was all for the receiving the Torah. It's like all the preparation for a show. They build a stage, they put all kinds of sound system and a laser and everything, and then the band, the guy is sick, he's not coming. What's the whole point here? The answer is because the unity that they reached, there was already such a level that even before receiving the Torah was also a great thing. The unity, everybody standing and waiting for the moment, all together. The Torah says when the Jews received the Torah, all the blind people saw everything. All the deaf people heard everything. All the birds, all the animals, everyone froze. Nobody made a beep. It was such a special moment to the world. Not only there, in the entire world, the Goyim, everybody was standing, shaking. They don't understand what's going on here. Something is happening now. Not only that, it says that the slaves, shifcha, a maid, that's the right word, a maid. What's a maid? She's not a prophet. She reached such a spiritual level greater than the prophet Ezekiel, which was one of the important prophets in history. That's the level that they reach before accepting the Torah. Ra'ata shifcha bayam in the Exodus of Egypt, ma sheYechezkel ben Buzi couldn't see. The prophet Yechezkel, and this is the prophet Yechezkel that Hashem took to the valley and showed him thousands of bones, and he asked him, will this bone revive and come back to life? And he said to Hashem, you know. I always wonder, why did he answer Hashem, you know? Hashem, you know. He should have said, of course. If you want, everything can happen. Absolutely.
They reach such a...
Why the prophet Yechezkel, we'll finish with this. Why the prophet Yechezkel didn't say to Hashem, when Hashem asked him, do you think that all these bones can revive and come back to life? Instead of saying, of course, Hashem, what's the question? I would answer, what's the question, Hashem? If you want, everything can happen. If you make a person from a drop of seed, you cannot make a person from a skeleton, which is 50% ready already? What's the question here? But why the prophet didn't answer this? Because he was answering deeply. He was going with a spiritual answer. He said, I do not know each one here what merit he has. Can he revive or not? You only know who died here. If they have the merit to revive, it wasn't answering physically, technically, if it's possible or not. You know. Of course it can, everything can happen. The question is, if these bones don't have the merit to revive, the Satan is going to come and say, excuse me, objection. He cannot resurrect. Resurrection of the dead is coming after the Messiah comes. It's a higher level already. After Mashiach comes, there will be all the resurrection of the dead of the exile and in Israel, and all the bones will roll to Israel. It's going to be amazing time. Not every Jew revived. Not every Jew revived. I'll finish with a joke about it. 2 Jews came to buy a grave in a cemetery. One beard, peos, religious. The other one earring, tattoos, shorts, come with his muscles from the beach. So he said, I want to buy a grave. And the religious guy comes first. He said, how much? He said, $2,000. $2,000, he give him a deed. Here is your grave. Then the macho comes. Said, how much? He said, $2 million. So no, I don't want to buy the whole cemetery. I want to buy a grave. He said, yeah, same piece of grave like I just sold to him for you, $2 million. He said, what is this, discrimination? He said, why, you don't like me because I'm not religious? He said, no, you don't get it. By him, it's only temporary. He gets it. Soon it's going to be the resurrection of the dead. He comes out of the grave. I get the real estate back. By you, it's forever. 2 million for millions of years you're going to be here. I don't get your spot back. That's what the Torah says. You got it? Some sins that we do can chas v'shalom not resurrect in the resurrection of the dead. I want to encourage everyone to get rid of the chametz. Don't count on selling to the goy. Try to finish everything. Cook, give it to the maid, give it to the goy in your work. Get rid of the pasta, get rid of the bread, get rid of the cookies, get rid of it. It's for $10, $20, doesn't pay to keep chametz in the house. And if you got rid of all the chametz, all the spices that have chametz in their ingredients, check one by one. Read. If it has wheat, flour, barley, whatever they have inside, wheat starch, all these things, just get rid of it. The spices, get rid of it. But if the ingredients don't have anything chametz, they don't have the 5 kinds of grains, even if it doesn't say kosher for Pesach, you can keep it in a closet. You don't have to sell it to a goy, because it's not chametz. It's not kosher for Pesach, but it's also not chametz. Therefore, you can cover it with a piece of paper or plastic bag, and don't touch it until after Pesach. Only get out of the house whiskey, beer, pasta, vinegar that made from wheat. The vinegar, not all of it, but it's very hard to know, because sometimes in the ingredients they don't tell you. So don't take a risk. Vinegar, get rid of it. Cookies, wafers, all these things, get rid of it. Make sure that the house, if you have a lot of whiskey, which is very, very expensive, here comes your test, if you have faith in God or not. If you have faith in God, either sell it or give it as a gift to all the goyim who ever made you a favor. The guy in the bank, the mechanic, give him a bottle, and don't store a lot of whiskey in the house. It's not good. Or just drink it instead of water for 2 weeks.
If it's closed, you're allowed to...
Yeah, closed, not closed, doesn't matter. Or you can give it to the maid.
Maid?
To the maid before Pesach. What happened? Why? Here I am. Yeah, very good. So you can give it to the maid. You can give it to the maid, and after Pesach, you want it back. You can sell it to her. Tell her, give me $1. Give me $1. Give her all the whiskey. Hopefully she won't run to Guatemala by then. But if she's still around, tell her, here is your $1 back. Give me back the whiskey. Like this, you got rid of it. But for real, give it to her. Don't leave it in the house. Why? It's all questionable. All these sales to the goyim that you go and you sign the names. Why it's questionable? Because somebody made a test. There's a supermarket in one town that he sold all his chametz to a goy. So one rabbi called up that goy in Chol HaMoed of Pesach. He said, I want you to take a truck and go to that supermarket and say to the Jewish owner, I came to pick up my chametz. Because he bought it. And I want to prove everybody in town that the Jew won't let you take it. Even though you made a deal. What's the deal? He gives a down payment before Pesach. He has up to the last minute of Pesach to bring the rest of the money. If he doesn't bring the rest of the money, let's say $500,000, the entire grocery store, right? So if he doesn't bring the rest of the money by the end of Pesach, then you're buying it back after Pesach. So why? What's the whole trick here? Jew is not allowed to own chametz in Pesach. Not allowed to own it. If a Jew owned the chametz in Pesach and he did not take it out of his territory, out of his car, out of his office, out of his house, out of his apartments, out of his buildings, out of anything that he owns, if he did not take the chametz out of his territory, even when Pesach is over, this chametz must be destroyed. Nobody ever can enjoy from this chametz. You cannot give it to the goyim, you cannot even give it to your dog to eat. Not allowed. You must destroy it. That's why you have to get rid of it before Pesach. If you didn't do it once Pesach started, finish. You cannot sell it anymore. As a matter of fact, from Erev Pesach, if Pesach is tomorrow night, from tomorrow in the morning, once we burn the chametz, we get rid of it, that's it. 6 hours into the day, you cannot sell the chametz anymore. And that's why we have to do it before, not to wait to the last minute. And I always say to people, don't leave chametz. Get rid of it. A month before, just get rid of it. Eat it, cook it, give it out. That when Pesach comes, you don't have any chametz. Like I say, if you have a lot of whiskey, then you sell it to the goy. Otherwise, there's no reason to sell. No reason. This whole sell trick was made for supermarkets that have $1 million chametz. They cannot destroy it. So they make a deal with the goy. But it wasn't for ordinary homeowners. For $15 chametz, he grants to the rabbi to sell it to a goy. You know, it's a shame. Yes?
Can we do it in the backyard?
No, the backyard is your territory. No, not in a basement, not in a garage, not in a basement. It's exactly like in a house.
Okay.
You must get it out of your territory. Also, one last thing, don't forget to clean the vacuum cleaner. The bag of the vacuum cleaner, the bag of the vacuum cleaner is full of bread crumbs, full of chametz. Don't leave it in a closet the entire Pesach. Get it, replace it in the last minute, get rid of it. Also, if you have garbage bags that you own, garbage cans, big garbage that you own, or you wash it, you get rid of it, the city will pick it up before Pesach, or you make it hefker. You put it in the street, not on your territory, and you say, I'm not interested in it, it's not mine anymore. And you keep it there. And after Pesach, you grab it, and you become the owner of it. Why? Because if it's yours, even if there's a garbage inside, chametz, it's also a problem. You got to get rid of chametz. You're not allowed to own one wafer. If you have chametz by you, every second is 3 sins from the Torah. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, million and a half, 2 million.
You can clean everything.
You clean. The most important thing, which I almost forgot, after we clean the chametz, we check the night before the chametz. We do bitul. We cancel all the chametz. We say, if I have chametz that I didn't see, I'm getting rid of it. I'm not interested in it. It will be like the sand. You have to say it 3 times. We see it in Haggadah in the first pages. And the next morning, when you take the chametz to burn it, they have places to burn the chametz. After that, you do again cancellation of the chametz. If you don't have a place where to burn the chametz, break it into small pieces in a bathroom and flush the toilet. And then make sure you clean the toilet that nothing is left. Yes?
You're not staying at home. You're living before Pesach, let's say a few days. Until the last day of the Pesach. Until the last
Technically,
day.
you can sell the house, the entire house, with all the belongings to a goy. But I said, it's better to get rid of the chametz. It's not so difficult. How much chametz we have? Bread, bagels, get rid of it.
But some people, they just...
Huh?
I got so much macaronis on sale.
How much macaroni cost? 99 cents a box? So give it to Sylvia and to, what's her name? All the cleaning ladies that come. Just give it to them. Give it to them, a gift. A tip. Give it a tip. You're doing such a great job. Take some spaghetti. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Levi. Good night.